Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody watching. Welcome to our episode number 21 of our weekly series, What's Your Spark? And today I'm here with Asnath Mahapa from Joburg, South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa. Welcome to the show, Asnath. It's so awesome to have you on my show, my dear friend. I absolutely miss you.
I know. Thank you so much for having me. I know this whole thing of the travel ban is really getting to a lot of us. So yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully it will come to an end soon. But yeah, thank you for having me.
absolutely. Yes, I was really looking forward to that. And let me just quickly check actually that we're streaming because sometimes I just want to make sure we're streaming here on LinkedIn. Um, so we are absolutely sure we're on. Yes, we are streaming. We are live. Awesome. It didn't come up today for some
Oh,
reason. So
okay.
I better check, now than
Yes.
later. All right. So, yeah, so you're in Johannesburg right now?
Yes, I am in Johannesburg at
Okay.
the moment.
Awesome.
Yes, I'm home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm tuning in from Miami, Florida today, spending time with another dear friend here this week, who's also helping me out a little bit after my uh,
Yes,
wrist fracture.
I see that.
So, yeah, but it's coming along. I had surgery yesterday, so it's all good. Now, please, everyone watching, before we start our conversation here, hit that like button, share your comments, share your questions in the comment section. As always, I'm expecting a lot of great questions for this interview here with Asnath because she's just such an amazing, multifaceted personality and professional. And if you're not catching us live today, well, it's your loss, but you can still ask or comment on the recording. So Asnath and I will check on your questions and comments later. We promise, right, Asnath?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, great. So this series is for anyone who loves to be inspired by other women who are contributing their insights and their creativity, their wisdom, their knowledge, their stories, their experiences, because we know that as we open up our minds to fresh perspectives and other people's stories and lives and their ideas, new ideas, we also open up new possibilities for ourselves at the same time. And through these interviews with women around the world, we can grow from and with each other and be inspired to find our own spark or just dig a little deeper with the spark that we're already living. Because don't we all want to live even more passionate and even more purpose driven and impactful lives?
Mhm.
I certainly do. And I know you do too, Asnath. You always have new projects. So I'm curious to find out more just a little bit. But just to our audience again, we all are meant to sparkle with our brilliance, whether we are an employee, whether we are an entrepreneur, a business owner, a community leader, a politician, artist. And today, again, I have the absolute pleasure to introduce Asnath Mahapa. Asnath was the first African female commercial pilot in South Africa. I got that right, right?
Yes,
Yes. And
you
she
did.
yeah, she was an airline pilot, senior first officer. And I know from my own experience from when I met her now well, it was in 2019, I think, September at a
Yes,
conference,
yes.
that she's also a wonderful inspirational speaker. She's a mentor for youth development. And she is now, more recently, she's also the co-founder and owner of Wound Care Clinic. And I know she has a lot of other new projects going on right now as well, but more about that in just a bit. So, are you ready to take the spotlight now, my friend Asnat?
Yes, I don't know if I'm ready, but yeah, let's let's do
I
it.
think you're always ready, as I know you. I hope you feel ready because I know you are, because there's so much light that emanates from you. And
Thank you.
everybody, I think it's there for everyone to see. So I know you're ready. I know
Okay.
you're ready. And I know you well, so that's great. So my first question, as always, is what's your spark? What would you define as your unique brilliance, your unique genius, distinctive uniqueness, as I call it in my work, that unique spark that you have inside of you and that shines towards us?
I think it's for me. I don't think it's a unique thing per se,
Mm-hmm,
but what what lights me up, what wakes me up in the morning,
mm-hmm,
is when I'm being of service to people.
mm-hmm.
Um, when I'm sure you know it, when you've done something for somebody, when you go to bed that evening, you go
Yeah.
to bed feeling peaceful, you know.
Yes.
So when I'm being of service to other people, that's what makes me happy. That's what um, gives me hope as well, because
Uh-huh.
without hope, then there's actually no future. Because if you don't have hope, you can't forward to tomorrow.
Yes.
So I love being of service. I love when I see people struggling, when I pick up that there's an issue. Somehow you find me getting involved. Most of the time, I think I get burnt because I go in with my heart first.
Mm-hmm.
Then I learn the hard way. But yeah, that's what keeps me going, being of service.
Yeah, and I totally see that in you in so many ways. I mean, you
Mm.
were of service as a pilot, you were of service as, as a youth development mentor, have been, I should say, not were, because you're still doing this as well,
Yes.
and as an
Yeah.
inspirational speaker. And there's just so much inspiration in all you do and so much service orientation. And, you might remember that I sign my emails with powerfully in service. So
Yes.
it's
Yes.
definitely something that aligns
Yeah.
us as well.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Wonderful to hear.
Definitely.
Yes, but you do it, it is unique in my opinion because you do it in your very unique way. Yes.
Okay.
Nobody will do it like you. And nobody
That's
has
true.
exactly the same talents and
Yes.
personality traits and all of that like you. That makes you you, and that makes you that unique package. And that's what in
Yes.
my work I call distinctive uniqueness. And I love to see that in all the women I interview here.
Okay. No, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I actually love the
Yeah.
way your point of view. It makes sense.
Thank you. And how did you find your spark?
Look, I living in South Africa at this
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
especially with COVID-19.
Hmm.
Once that's, we were all in the beginning complaining about COVID-19, complaining about things not coming right.
Hmm.
But when you start going inside, and really looking deep inside, you realize that you're actually blessed, more blessed than a lot of people. And there are people who go to bed hungry.
Hmm.
There are kids out there, youngsters out there who don't know where their next meal is going to come from. There are youngsters who don't even know, what a pilot looks like, for example.
Yeah.
There are youngsters who are brilliant in class, but there's no leadership
Hmm.
in their lives. So there's no leadership role. And so I started, in actual fact, it was even before COVID-19, but you realize the impact that certain things have, um, the negative stuff that it
Hmm.
has on certain societies. So I got involved in the townships. I don't know what they're called in
Hmm.
in the US,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
but I got involved in the townships, and that's where you start realizing that, you know, I'm privileged. The stuff that
Hmm.
I complain about, you know, people in the townships don't even think it's a problem what I'm
Yep.
complaining about.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
where things just go unnoticed, whether it's abuse, whether it's
Hmm.
all sorts of negative things going on that just
Hmm.
go unnoticed. No one deals with them. So that's how
Yes.
I got involved. That's how I got involved with the youth, and that's how I got involved with the wound care, because as I was doing my own research, I then realized that wound care clinics are only in your suburban areas. There's actually no wound care clinics in our townships, in our rural
Hmm.
areas. They're not there. And those that are there, you find that the nurses are not even actually qualified
Wow.
to
Hmm.
take care of wounds,
Hmm.
So people go there, they open businesses and they cut corners. People don't get
Hmm.
healed. People end up
Yeah.
with their legs being amputated
Yeah.
unnecessarily because they
Yeah.
did not get the right kind of help when they
Yes.
needed it. So yeah, so that's how I got involved in the wound care and the youth development. It's all about being aware of what's happening around us, not just
Hmm.
in our lives, but what's actually happening all around us. If you become aware
Yeah.
of what's going on um, around you,
Hmm.
that's the only way you can be of service. Because you can't be of
Right.
service if you don't know what is going on. You know what is it that you're going to be helping with or
Yeah.
changing if you're not aware of what is happening around you. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, knowledge, is important, but
Mm,
knowledge is only potential power. It's only about what we do with our knowledge, right? That
that's true.
makes it powerful. And
Yes.
and I think that's really, really important. And real knowledge, true knowledge, not I don't mean knowledge is the same as what we call the education that we
Mm,
receive at the education system, right? Because that's
yeah.
oftentimes actually misinformation.
Very
So,
true.
and yes, not all of it, but a big portion of it. And you
Yes.
and I know because we've had many conversations, it's not just
Hmm.
about what's going on in your next circle, but it's also right now about doing your research about what's
Hmm.
really going on in the world so that you can
Exactly.
be informed and make informed decisions and help others be informed and all of that, which I have dedicated a big portion of my time to in these last 2 years as well, in addition to my business. But I just found
Hmm.
it was my human responsibility. And with those
Yes.
lockdowns and everything, and really look behind the scenes and see, okay, what's really going on here.
Yeah.
And of course we both had a lot of previous or prior knowledge, but that going deeper with all of this really was triggered by the situation. And that's
Yes.
also what we then eventually hopefully can call the great awakening, and it's already happening. But it's I know we are aligned, and we we have a lot of knowledge that we must share, and you do it now with this very particular and very, very impactful project. So that's really amazing, because it's also about knowledge again, right? Even if the
Yes.
nurses or the staff that wants to help, but they don't have the knowledge on how, then that is a problem, right?
It is. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
It
but
is.
it also
Uh,
happens here. It happens everywhere, as we know, especially in this situation. A lot of
yes.
people are just not in the now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. I was just saying that. When I'm talking from a South African point of view,
Yeah.
that in our immediate circles, like you were saying,
Hmm.
when we complain, or sometimes you listen to a radio station where people there's a discussion about an issue that we are dealing
Hmm.
with as a country,
Hmm.
but you if you start if you are aware, then you realize that the only people who are discussing these problems are people who don't actually have serious problems in their
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
They're dealing with what they think is serious problems. But until you go to bed hungry,
Hmm.
until you are told that your leg is going to be amputated
Hmm.
because you did not get the right kind of help in the first place,
Hmm.
until such time that you are in that position,
Hmm.
you don't actually realize what people are going through out there.
Right. Right.
So when we go into discussions, as I'm going to put it in inverted commas, that
Hmm.
as educated people,
Hmm.
we leave those who are in the rural areas, we leave those who are in the townships.
Hmm.
They don't get to hear and listen to the conversations that we are having.
Right.
They are not even aware of the impact, for example, COVID has had on our economy.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
understand?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
they live on, if you're living on grants and your grant comes every
Hmm.
month,
Yeah.
you don't know where your grant is coming
Yeah.
from. And no one is actually discussing this with you to say,
Right.
hey, if we don't get ourselves, if people are not healthy, which is a very important,
Hmm.
part of society, if people are not
Right.
healthy, if people don't get the right nutritions, we end
Mm-hmm.
up with a sick society. And what does
I
that
know.
mean? A sick society means a very an economy that is not stable, or an economy that's going to suffer in the long run
Mm-hmm.
if you have a sick society.
Yeah.
So if we then go back and say, okay, how do we make sure that our people are healed, but they also get the right nutrition
Mm-hmm.
together with the right education when it comes to nutrition? Because some
Right.
people have diabetes and they don't even know
Yeah.
why they have diabetes.
Yeah.
They go back home and they eat food that is actually exacerbating the very
Right.
same disease that they're suffering from. So so in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is that when we have these discussions, we need to go out there and actually involve those people. Like, they
Yeah.
have no idea. They don't understand where things are coming from. They don't understand that a country can actually run out of money if
Yeah.
things are not done
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about things like that, where people, we need to teach our people. We need to educate our people.
Right.
The education you were talking about earlier, not the classroom
Yeah.
education,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
but the reality about
Mm-hmm.
what actually is going on. you know
Right.
and countries have different problems, so we have our own issues in South Africa
Exactly.
that we need to deal with. And
Yeah.
until such time that us who are in the know start dealing with them correctly, involving those who are part of the economy, as in the whole nation,
Mm-hmm.
then we're going to have a serious issue where our economy is going to struggle. I mean, currently in South Africa, we're having, before COVID,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking, I think, January
Mm-hmm.
2020, we had a situation where about 83% of the population was relying on public
Mm-hmm.
health. Um,
Yeah. And yeah, I know you
and
have
now,
extremely high youth
yeah,
unemployment, right?
yes.
Was it over
Oh,
40%?
I think it's over
Yeah.
40%
Yeah.
now. And
Mm-hmm.
and now, the studies have not been done yet properly, but
Mm-hmm.
we reckon it's more than 90% of people now who are relying on public
Yeah.
health.
Right.
Public health that was already stressed to the limits, beyond limits, before COVID,
Yeah, and I would say before lockdown, in my
before
language,
lockdown. Exactly,
because
before,
the
yeah, before
the
lockdown.
COVID thing did
The
nothing.
COVID
It's
thing,
just
listen,
like,
yes,
yeah,
it just, yeah.
yeah,
So
it's a
before lockdown,
joke, but
you have a
mm-hmm.
public system that was already stretched beyond
Mm-hmm.
its limits, and now you're having another probably 10% of the population now,
Right.
coming on board. In 10%,
Yeah.
we're talking, it's hundreds of thousands of people. We're not talking,
Right.
it's a couple of million actually. We're not talking, 5,000 people coming on board. We're talking quite a
Right.
number of people coming on board.
Right.
So, and that's where I'm coming from. So if
Yeah.
we don't have a healthy society, we are in trouble.
Yes, absolutely. And it's all like here it's and it's also done in your country, but even the ingredients of all the prepared foods and everything in the US has sugar in it, where there's
Yeah,
no need, you would not even suspect sugar, like
exactly.
in you look at the ingredients of the packages, everything has sugar. That's why we have such high diabetes, that's why we have such high obesity.
Yeah.
It's done on purpose. That's what the sad part about it is, right? It's
Well,
all
if
done
it
on
does, if
purpose.
it's not tasty, we're not
But
going to
it's
buy it.
not even
But
about
it's
tasty.
not even about that. Yeah.
No, it's
Uh,
it's about putting sugar in everything where we don't even want it. And
yeah.
I'm personally, I grew up with much less sugar. I can't even eat the cookies here. But it's just like it's not in the sweet stuff that I'm talking about only.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
everywhere. And
Everywhere.
canola oil, which is the worst quality oil, and all these, and cornstarch, all these ingredients that are really bad for you, right? They're almost everything. At least when you prepare, when you sorry buy prepared foods, and people
Yes.
don't look at those enough, and they don't oftentimes even know. So but anyway, let's move on, because we're actually getting toward the end. So I want to give you a little bit of time still to expand on how you're making an impact through your spark. You've already explained it a little bit, but is there anything you would like to add here?
Uh, Look, for me, especially with the wound care, where
Mm-hmm.
youth development is one thing. You see
Yeah.
people, you see youngsters, their behavior changing. You can see they're becoming more confident.
Mhm.
But with wound care, when you actually, some of the people, when they walk into the clinic
Mhm.
with smelly wounds, you know,
Mhm.
that's uncomfortable for anybody.
Yeah.
No one wants to go there. No one wants to be in that situation. But
Mhm.
when people like that find help and they get healed and they don't smell anymore, which we might take it for granted because we are not in that situation.
Right.
When you see people getting healed and they're confident again, that that is, there's no words to explain
Mhm.
how that makes one feel.
Yeah.
I I don't know how to explain it, but can you imagine waking up every morning and you cannot go to anywhere?
Yeah.
You cannot go into the public.
Right.
You go into the public and people are looking at you funny because now you are smelly. Some of them can't even get onto public transport.
Right. And it's such a timely
And
conversation
it's
because I just had this
exactly.
problem, and I was
Mm,
actually worried last night because my entire forearm was limp for many, many hours, and I could just push it around like a little
yeah.
a puppet on a string. And I think,
Mm.
oh my God, is it really gonna work again? And it's such a minor, and now I'm hearing this, and
Exactly.
it's all
Yeah.
I'm putting it into perspective.
Into
And
perspective. Yeah.
frankly, I was very relieved this morning when I said, okay, it hurts now, but it feels like something again. And when you hear these other
Yeah.
people's stories, you just put it in perspective again. So
Yeah.
that is really
Yeah.
wonderful work that you do. I really appreciate you even more for that, although my appreciation was already high before hearing about this. So yeah, so
Yeah.
Asnath, where can people find you, or anything about your work apart from your LinkedIn profile? Is there any other place, or is it just LinkedIn,
Well,
which is totally fine, of
yes,
course?
no,
Hmm.
we have a website. It's a work in
Hmm.
progress, but you can find
Yeah.
us on the website at
Okay.
www.body-strength.com.
Uh-huh.
Body-strength.com. So that's where you
Great.
can find us. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I have to check that out. I hadn't checked on that yet.
Yes.
So I will certainly do that. So thank you so very much again for sharing your very important and impactful spark with me and our audience, Asnat. And as always, I want to quickly share my spark. I'm a multicultural transformational leadership coach. I've also spent like about almost 5 months in your country in the past few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would have been more if it hadn't been for the lockdown, but it's going to come again. And
Yes.
so I help women through this coaching, through my coaching framework, Powerful Leadership Transformation. I help women employees achieve their next career goal, and always with the objectives of fulfilling their potential and increasing their income, their influence, their impact. And we do that through this coaching framework that I mentioned, Powerful Leadership Transformation, through conversational intelligence tools and so much more. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, so that will be tomorrow again, I have a 60-minute show on winwinwomen.com. And to watch, just click on winwinwomen.com and follow the instructions to get to my show. There's no need to register. You can't register. So just go online at that time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and join me live. There's also past episodes you can watch on that website. I've done 10 episodes so far. I think tomorrow is number 11. And then during the first part of that show, you can get all your questions answered. So it's really almost like group coaching. So
Okay.
definitely check it out. Tomorrow's topic is self awareness and how it plays into self leadership. Thanks again, Asnat, and to all the beautiful souls watching today. As always, we trust this show has inspired you to uncover or express your spark fully and fulfill your potential in this way. And please do click on like and share your thoughts, your comments, your questions. And also feel free to share the post of this show. And you could do that either here or on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Regina Huber. I will post a recording shortly, and feel free to share it with your friends if you find it useful. Of course, also subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a lot of free resources there for your career advancement, for to upgrade your life and career, and many related topics. Tomorrow, January 5, I'll be here live again with Bella Grace from Florida. It's going to be another one of those conversations that you absolutely do not want to miss. And we are having it on a Wednesday tomorrow because we had to move it after my wrist accident last week. It was originally scheduled for December 22nd. And if you were waiting for my interview with Mambir Kaur from India this last week, don't worry. You'll be able to experience her during the last week of January. I know I announced her already, but then also something came up. So just had to move a few things around this month, given the circumstances. So hopefully see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, when I'll be having an amazing conversation with Bella Grace from Florida. Thank you so much again, Asnath, and everyone
Thank you.
watching. Thank you. And please stay on so we can chat a little bit more, Asnath. And we wish you all a magical 2022.
Yes.